Breaking news. Welcome to Lafrey's Concept TV. Here is the headlines. Tinubu's convoy is enough to get him impeached if things were working in Nigeria. Tinubu's convoy is enough to get him impeached if things were working in Nigeria. Deji Adeyanju. To my dear listeners, from wherever you're listening from, please do ensure you like, subscribe, and share. Nigerian lawyer and activist Deji Adeyanju has criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his flamboyant spending considering the poor economic state of the country. Adeyanju argued that the size of the presidential convoy alone should be grounds for impeachment if Nigeria's political system were functioning properly. He said, "The convoy of the president is enough to get the president impeached if things were working in this country." Adeyanju made these remarks during an interview with Arise News on Wednesday while speaking against the recent purchase of the new presidential jet, highlighting that while the president keeps neglecting the citizens' needs, he continues to spend lavishly on unimportant things, which is a glaring example of government insensitivity. The lawyer said, "For us, from where we are standing, we do not see any sign of goodwill from the president. The most brazen lack of any care of the Nigerian people is the presidential jet that he just launched, a whopping 150 billion naira. The jet that he replaced is still almost a new jet. This new jet, that jet is a passenger plane that can comfortably take 250 passengers. The president does not need that kind of luxury because Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. Nigeria cannot afford that luxury. We just took a loan from IMF. Our leaders are behaving like bandits. They are extremely insensitive." He drew comparisons with other world leaders, noting that the US presidential jet is nearly 50 years old, and the British Prime Minister has been known to fly commercial. He said, "In the US, the US presidential jet is almost 50 years old. The British Prime Minister was to fly in a commercial of recent. Look at even when it comes to cost of governance, the US president, everything he eats in the White House, he pays for heat." The activist expressed frustration over the economic impact of floating the naira and the removal of fuel subsidies, which he believes are hurting the poor while benefiting the wealthy, including the governors and the president himself. He emphasized that subsidies from the poor ultimately support the broader economy. He said the demands of the protesters were not hatched in a room. Government knows the demands of the protesters. These are popular demands. They resonate with the Nigerian people. The economy is halting because we have floated the naira. We know that for a fact. Nigeria is a dependent on petrol, and protesters have explained why reversing to the old price of fuel will help the economy. The president thinks he's saving the nation, but he's actually subsidizing the governors. The president is subsidizing himself. You don't want to subsidize the poor. When you subsidize the poor, you are subsidizing the economy. He accused the president of suffocating the populace, despite his earlier promise to let the poor breathe, adding that Nigerians have already made enough sacrifices. The most important thing and the most relevant thing for me as a citizen is that when this president came on board, on May 29, 2023, the president was clear. He was emphatic. He said, "Dear citizens of Nigeria, I am appealing to you that you should all make sacrifices for this country." Have Nigerians not made sacrifices in the last 1 year? Have Nigerians not tried? Nigerians can barely breathe. When this president won the election, he said, "Let the poor breathe." But he's practically suffocating the life out of the citizens daily. This new jet, that jet is a passenger plane that can comfortably take 250 passengers. The president does not need that kind of luxury because Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. Nigeria cannot afford that luxury. We just took a loan from IMF. Our leaders are behaving like a bandit. They are extremely insensitive. To my dear listeners, now we've come to the end of our today's news, and now before I go, let's move down to the comment section. The first comment I have here says, "You are very right, all young, that the man did not participate in the protest are part of the problem. That might died in him, who kept mute in the face of tyranny." And the last comment here says, "Think about the petrol the vehicles will consume." To my dear listeners, now we've come to the end of